Hello guys, and welcome to Unmasked by Toltec Wisdom, where we unlearn, relearn, and become. Today's episode's title is The Power of Imagination. The Power of Imagination. We are going to be looking at the power of imagination from Toltec view, from Toltec's perspective. Have you ever wondered or even considered the fact that everything you see around, everything we humans have created so far, be it houses, clothing, the phone I'm using to record, everything, and not only those things that we've curated that are of material things, everything that has to do with our way of life, the laws, the morals, and even how we carry on our day-to-day activities. Have you ever considered it that these were just some people's imaginations? Most of them, if we pick it in isolation, you will see that it started as someone's imagination, or group of people's imaginations. Most of the time, it is the intensity of our imagination that give rise to the reality you see. Toltec has known this before science. This is what Toltec called individual dream. Individual dream is individual imagination. It is from this individual imagination that born the collective imagination. And this is the paradox. At the same time, it is the collective imagination, which is the collective dream, that individual extracts their own dream. The two of them are together. Both individual dream, which is individual imagination, and the collective dream, which is the collective imagination. As you can see, that majority of what you have today, majority of what you've achieved today, were once just an imagination. Now they were reality. Let's take it to when we were even living on trees. When our ancestors were living on trees, under the trees. Before they started that, it would have been someone's imagination that tree, after seeing tree, that this tree could be useful as a shelter. It would have been from those people living under the tree, on trees, that imagine using the cave as shelter. It will have been someone's imagination to have a mobile shelter, which is this clothing. You can see, because it's also a form of shelter. From that, you will also know, or if you don't know, you know now, and I think many people will really know what I'm about to say, that humans moving from one continent to another, moving from one town to another that were separated by large volume of water, oceans or sea, were just all this faraway land, other people in other continents, were just a mythological stories, were just stories of faraway land, were just imagined. People just imagine it. It was the intensity of that imagination that gave rise to the tools that can be used to move to that faraway land, to meet these faraway people, which is now boats, canoe, or, and even it was imagination that gave rise to swimming. After we've spread all over the earth, we discover that those cultures that I've never met, that I've never interacted before, we all have similar fables, similar story, similar mythological stories. As we were having the story of them being in a faraway land, they also were having the story of us also being faraway land. We have parables. Those cultures that I've never met, we have parables that are similar. We have way of life, we have similar dream, and we've not even met. This is what Carl Jung called archetypes, the collective archetypes. Now, after spreading all over the world, this other planet today, Mars, Pluto, all of them that we now know as a fact that they exist, were once mythological story, were once just a story, were once just imaginations. It was the intensity of the imagination of we having other planets that gave rise to the tool that we use to really discover other planets, which is the telescope. Before the advent of telescope, there has been imagination of how rocket could be. Of if you see, there are some archaeological sites today that there were pictures of rocket-like images with astronauts-like images. There in the past, there was story of some beings going out of this earth and coming back. And the kind of image that were used, that were imagined then, happens to be related to what we have today as rockets. And the way they dress, the images we had in our mind then is exactly the same way our astronauts are dressing today. And this story of this movement were not specific to a particular culture. There were many cultures that have never interacted that share the same story, which means we share the same imagination. So from the intensity of that imagination of faraway planets, we were able to develop rockets, and today, faraway planets is no longer a story but a reality. Everything has always been like that. Now, when I was personally, I want to share a story. When I was in the secondary school, I attended a boarding school. So when I was in the boarding school, in the year 2000, 2001, it should be one of the two. I don't really remember the exact year. But I was in the class one day, and we were doing mathematics. I was with a scientific calculator, that calculator that used to have letters. So I was with that scientific calculator, and looking at the letters on the calculator, I started using it to type a message, and I passed it to a girl beside me. We were passing it, she will reply to that message, and then I will type again, I will send to her. We were doing that in the class. Immediately after the class, I went to the toilet. I was in the toilet, I could remember vividly. I was in the toilet and I was imagining me still being able to type and send the message without me handing the phone, without me handing the calculator to the girl. So I was imagining what we call WhatsApp today, then. After a year of that imagination, I was on my bed bunk in the hostel, and I imagined having a market, an online market. I have never heard anything about internet. So I didn't know anything about internet that time. But I was imagining a kind of market that you don't need to move from where you are. Just as I was on my bed bunk, that I could order things and will be delivered to my doorstep. Without knowing, someone has already started doing it, which is Amazon. Amazon has started doing that then. You can see how our imagination are connected. Any kind of imagination you have, many of us will be able, or almost all of us, because we all imagine things. But you will see that majority of things you imagine, without telling anybody, you will see people carrying out that imagination as reality. Or many people also talking about having the same idea. This is collective imagination. And it is the intensity, how intense the imagination is, and how many people are imagining the same thing that used to give rise to the reality we have, to our shared reality. In some religion, the major reason for gathering a lot of people to pray is to be able to force the universe, to force the existence to bend to their imagination, to their will. Yes, that is it. This is the exact thing Joe Dispenza has been talking about. That if you are able to imagine anything, either you are sick, the same thing he did himself when he had an accident. It was through his imagination, vivid imagination, that he imagined himself going inside himself to reset the spinal cord. What the doctor said was impossible, he did it to himself and he became ill. Since that time, he has been going around discussing this, the power of our imagination. If you can be so consistent with it and have a realistic, vivid image in your mind. Yes, and he has helped many people with this. Currently now, we will see that there is a strong imagination about alien. Either some people have met alien or not, either there has been real UFO or not. I can tell you for a fact that sooner or later, human beings are going to meet alien for reality. That is going to be a shared reality. Because the imagination now is so intense. And you will also notice that recently there has been more talk and more imagination about immortality. About we humans being able to live longer than this. Spiritually, we can see that most spiritual culture are preparing the mind, are letting us know that we are beyond just living in one time. We are beyond this body. They are saying you cannot die, you are not born. It's not that because this body is not going to die. It's that you as a being cannot die. But the fusion of science and spirituality will soon happen, that the two are going to converge, because now the spirituality is preparing the mind to go much deeper than what it is now, to go beyond the current state of mind, to be able to enlarge the frame of our imagination. The same way science is preparing this body to be able to live longer. And science is also now dealing with how to enhance ourselves to be supernatural. That is why AI and this physical body are going to match together very soon. And because existence, to me, is using us to explore itself and doesn't want our consciousness to always start from the beginning again. That is why immortality is needed, for us to be able to explore further the universe, to be able to live longer, to be able to pass this consciousness more and preserve it. We need to be able to live longer. We need to be able to leave this planet. Now, the imagination of being on other planet is so currently intense, and it's going to be achieved. Yes, it's going to be possible that we will be able to move to other planets within our solar system, so that by the time this Earth collapses again, we would have been on other planets, and then the consciousness will not have to start from the beginning again. By the time other planets will get collapsed, by the time our star, which is the sun in our solar planet, will consume every planet under it and later consume itself, we would have been able to move to other solar systems within our Milky Galaxy. So majority of us know that we have many solar systems within this galaxy. So that by the time this galaxy dissolves, this sun collapses, we will have moved to other solar system. By the time that solar system will get issue and disappear again, we will have been able to move to another galaxy within the universe. That is why science cannot really say specifically that this is the number of galaxies we have. To me, is unlimited, and each galaxy with its own solar systems, each solar system with its own planet. So this interstellar movement is what is going to enable human beings to achieve that imagination of immortality. Immortality is what is going to enable us to achieve this movement interstellarly. And now many people think we only have one universe. No. Me specifically, I feel like we don't have limited universe. We only know of this universe now. By the time wherever galaxies we move to from our own galaxy will have get destroyed, there will have been inter-universe traveling. Many people are already talking about multiverse. So, me, I believe in that. All the thing I've been saying is just to let you know that all of them are based on our imagination, and they are coming to reality. Those that have not come to reality will definitely come to reality because of the intensity of our imagination now and the number of people imagining it. Before, a reality that would take thousands of years to manifest can now happen within a year, because we now have technology that connects us together. That as you are imagining something now, you are able to connect with other people also imagining the same thing. So the collective imagination is so strong now than before. Hence the reason for the fast progress we are having in achieving new things. Yes, that is it. Before, it was more difficult to connect this imagination together, but it's no longer the case. If you look at the progress we've made in the last 10 years, compared to the progress made in many centuries back, you will see that the exponential progress we are having now is so high. And it's because our imagination are so much high now, and we are able to communicate it easily. Now, Many people may think science and spirituality are dealing with different things or they are against each other. No. Existence is being deliberate about it. There is going to be a fusion of the two of them. The two of them are going to converge together. The reason for the convergence of the two of them is that for every reality, imagination has to prepare you, has to prepare us human for that imagination, for us having the picture in our head before the reality, so that we are not going to be overwhelmed when it happens. Imagine there was no desktop computer, that from no internet to just having AI or having Web3. Man will go crazy. We are going to be overwhelmed. But the imagination has been coming gradually, preparing the mind. Before internet at all, there has been some science fiction about AI, science fiction drama, or books about AI. Now we have the AI, so we are no longer surprised. We are no longer overwhelmed with them. The same thing with the alien. If majority of people now, if they meet alien one-on-one, they are not going to be surprised because the mind has been prepared to meeting them. So those are the essence of imagination. And this is where I'm going. As an individual, know that anything you want to achieve, if you can imagine it and the picture can be so clear vividly in your mind, you are going to, if you are consistent with it, you are going to definitely see a way to achieve it. I'm telling you. And not only a way to achieving it just one time, it's going to be coming gradually. But with imagination, you will see the way. And it's going to happen. If in a country there is a collective imagination to make a change in that country, just imagine what happened. I'm going to take Nigeria for example. When we had long-term military rule in Nigeria, many people, a lot of people were imagining the death of our president. I'm telling you, the imagination was so strong. The imaginations of ending what was happening was so strong. And I can tell you for a fact that the president later died. Yes, the president later died. Military rule later ended because of the intensity of the imagination. You will see a lot of people, be it Muslim, Christian, going to places, coming together, praying for this to happen, imagining end of this. Nowadays now, in my country also, there is ongoing imagination of ending this hardship under democratically elected president, of all the rubbish going on in that country. I'm telling you, very, very soon, Nigeria is going to get over the issue. We may not get over totally, but things are going to change in Nigeria. The imagination for a change is so intense in that country. And it's not only about positive things. This is where we need to be careful with what we imagine. If we in the world are not so careful with the ongoing intensity of imagining third world war, the World War III that we are imagining, the nuclear war that we are imagining so intensely, if we are not careful, I swear it's going to happen. We are imagining so much. And just some days ago, to let us see how the imagination of immortality that I spoke about before is going to come to the manifestation. The Chinese president and Putin, Russian president, the other day they were talking about the same thing, immortality. the biotech and this cell regeneration, all this, they are going to do it. It's going to happen. But it all started with imagination. So, imagination also is not all about the future. Many of our historical facts that we see as facts today were just imagined. We use imagination to bridge the gaps of what we don't know about the past. Yes. Majority of the things you see, you read about our history, they were imagined. So, imagination is how we live. Imagination is how we deal with the past. It's how we project the future. That brings about the realities we have in the present. So, if any spiritual leader, if anybody is telling you to stop thinking, to stop imagining things, to always just be in the present. Being in the present is good. It's very, very good. But if you want to achieve anything, you need to be thinking about it often. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. You need to be thinking about it from time to time to manifest it. It's not just going to happen just because you wish. When you are so consistent with the imagination, definitely you are going to work towards it. You are going to be seeing things you need to do about it. When you go out, everything you can just see and just move past, you are going to be able to create a link between them and what you want to achieve and how you can use it to manifest what is in your mind. So, the last part of the reason for me explaining this imagination and the power of imagination using Toltec view is that you are not supposed to take all these things too serious. Yes. Because if our reality is born from our imaginations, if our reality is born from our dream, then what is real about that? Nothing. Because you can imagine anything. You can imagine any fucking thing. So instead of taking something so serious, taking this life so serious, or trying to fathom why we are here, why don't you just rest in just be and play with existence? Either you like it or not, the existence is moving, is going at a speed with which you cannot stop, you cannot start. You just have to flow with it. And instead of you being so careful or trying to manage, to micromanage every part of your imagination or every part of your life, know that the frame of your imagination is decided by existence. What we people currently now can imagine is because of what the frame is, because of what existence allows. It's because the frame existing, the frame of imagination that existence allow us to. That is the reason why what we can imagine now, majority of them are different from what people, our ancestors, can imagine. And also, to let you know that non-duality is not just a belief that you and I, me and any other person, me and any being, me and anything I can see, I can relate with, we are one. Is because as you are imagining something now, thousands, billions of people, millions of people are also imagining it simultaneously. So, it's still also related with the Jungian archetype that I spoke with before. So, we are the same. We think alike. Anything that is going through your mind, know that you are not isolated. That other people are also having this imagination. Knowing all these things I've said, we give you freedom to go beyond suffering. We give you freedom to be able to choose how you want to dream, how you want to imagine. And we let you to be awake like Toltec has taught us, to be awakened in this dream, in this imagination, knowing for a fact that all these things are not real. They are just imagination. They may give rise to reality that you can see, but even all these things you can see, which are product of imagination, are still imagination. I'm telling you, if imagination gives rise to your reality, born your reality, the product cannot be different from the creator. That is for a fact. And this is how I'm going to bring an end to today's episode. On Unmasked by Toltec Wisdom, we are going to always unlearn, relearn, and become by the power of Toltec. Thank you so much.